This is the Beige and the Bold, and today we are watching Power Play. I'm Van Velding, and I watched this series when it originally aired.
I'm Derek. This is my first time watching this episode.
You ready?
Yep.
And 3, 2, 1, engage. The title card from Netflix really undersold this one, and I absolutely love it.
I forgot the title card. What does it say? Do you remember?
Oh, it just says they're looking for they found a wrecked ship maybe on a really old planet.
Oh, yeah.
Just regular Star Trek stuff.
Classic, faded distress beacon. Find someone that's alive that you didn't expect. Nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah. What's interesting is the fact that we rarely ever see just a normal mission happen here. And yet we have a really strong feel for what a normal mission is.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've just kind of taken it for granted there's going to be a twist. And I think that it's certainly something the original series kind of started. And it's just interesting that it's still kind of a tradition that's being carried on. You see Troi in the background, like she's kind of, I'm so confused. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Troi, I need you to walk in. All right, Marina, I need you to just walk in through the door and empathize. All right, action. What?
It's really subtle, but I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Troy's definitely like, there's a psychic thing going on here.
Yeah.
As an aside, Data remembers this old distress signal, but in season 2, Riker did that. Riker could do that. Used to be.
Yeah. One day. Yeah.
Well,
and this is kind of. I have mixed feelings about this because on the one hand, it's like, oh yeah, Deanna, you couldn't recognize something that was happening on the very ship you're on, but you can sense something where you're thousands of kilometers away from it. Like, what the hell? On a planet, no less. But, I mean, you could make an argument oh no, the planet's got a magnetosphere and the planet's really reaching out or whatever. I don't know.
She rolled double crits.
Yeah,
and
I guess.
Is a West Marches campaign, and the DM's like, what? No, you're not high enough level to detect that. She's like, I rolled 220s.
Yeah, I mean...
double natural empathy roll.
Yeah, I also spent a stunt die, yeah. So 320s.
You have to be level 5 before you can have the feat that lets you punch ghosts, Deanna. How else are you going to fight these guys? She's a psychic type, Derek.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like a psychic type counselor Pokemon with smoke attacks.
Yeah. Hey. I apologize to everyone. We talked about Pokemon in the pre-roll.
Yeah, that's our bad. It's just I'm fine with using hey, look, I can do a thing. It's just you get sort of power whiplash because in one episode she can't do something right next door, and then another
the kid
episode
has anxiety.
Yeah,
the trauma. She can't read through the trauma.
Yeah, I can't read through the trauma, but then she can sense something on a planet, and it's do you realize the difference in magnitude we're talking about here? That doesn't track at all.
I mean, look, no matter how traumatized that kid was, though, she knew he was alive.
Maybe I would love it. It's if she started grading trauma in planet classes. No, that kid's got M-class trauma. It's too big for me to read through.
Yeah, it's a little wibbledy, but I accept it, and it's useful in that it almost gets everyone killed.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it? We've done this a lot. This whole, there's this planet is engulfed in a constant thunderstorm, so we can't read. Our sensors don't work for reasons. It seems like Starfleet would have some kind of protocol, right? They would say, hey, listen, welcome to Starfleet. One day you're going to find yourself trying to scan an M-class planet, and it's going to be covered in a thunderstorm. If you do, make sure you follow these rules to come out safely.
Hey, they're wearing seatbelts. What do you want? These guys never wear seatbelts. People have never shut the hell up about seatbelts in this series, and there you go. You got them.
I totally would have loved a Demolition Man's type airbags where just the whole canopy is just flooded with foam.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
And maybe reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there would be some sort of way to crash land, but then again, like our planes, like I think the best we get is like skidding to a stop. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're designed to operate in atmosphere, and the deal is these shuttlecraft are built 100% for space, it seems. So there's no aerodynamics. You're just in a falling box once all the gadgets come off.
So, I mean, that these shuttles were never designed to go down to a planet. It seems like that would be one of their primary functions.
I mean, look at it. Aerodynamically,
I mean, no.
like there's no
like
backup.
You would get like crosswinds and that thing would just go like head over foot.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's got great like inertial dampers in it, and that's why they're alive.
Yeah.
I don't know if broken arms work that way, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. Like,
so,
he's just kind of like, he just jumped out of the thing with no help. And then Deanna had like, oh man, your arm. And it's like, yeah.
I think it's broken. Don't check the shuttle for painkillers.
Yeah, no, right? Like, he's like, hey, is there anything useful? It's like, no, nothing that survived our landing is useful. I'm like, really? Like, gauze didn't survive the landing, antibiotics, a splint. You can't just like rip like part of the chair off and use it as a splint for his arm. Like, come on.
Yeah. Like, if any of Riker's other bones or any of Deanna's bones survived that crash, there's still useful stuff in the shuttle.
Yeah.
But whatever. Like, we're moving forward here. We're not going to spend 20 minutes unloading the shuttle and making camp. Like, Deanna has to tell us that there's foreshadowing happening.
Yeah, exactly. So. And that she's kind of she's being used as like a narrative device to kind of drive the beginnings of this plot along.
But she's also being useful, Derek.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I have less problems when she's actually on the planet, because it makes, like, she's surrounded by it at that point, right? So it kind of makes a little more sense. Yeah.
So it's our first use of the pattern enhancers.
Oh, really?
Which work here because it's a way for Chief O'Brien to overcome, like, our made-up obstacle.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, this is the reason that Chief O'Brien's here. Because we want to have Chief O'Brien, for very good dramatic reasons, I think, be our third guy.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's funny, too, where it's like, all right, listen, there's a 50-50 shot that you're going to survive this. I was like, yeah, I'm willing to take that risk. And I'm like, we don't want to send, like, a probe down or something. Like, you don't want to, like, just dry run this. Like teleportation isn't, like, a time-sensitive process. Like, it isn't very slow is what I'm saying. So you could totally send just anything down first. Any biological. Just send last night's dinner, last night's pot roast. Send it down there and just see if it survives.
The beautiful thing is that, okay, we're going to send Chief O'Brien out there because he's necessary, right?
Right.
And so instantly he hands the pattern enhancer off to the counselor. So it's obvious that, with all due respect to Deanna, these things are not exactly requiring an experienced user to operate.
Well, yeah.
You could have just beamed down the things.
Yeah.
Because again, 50-50 shot, this episode ends with Cronenberg O'Brien.
We don't know that, like, but like that, this is just like another organ. I love this nice little graphic is nice. I love how this, like, that little dude just nopes out. He's like, nope, not dealing with Riker. And that's kind of funny. We also get another indication of how intuitive this design is, because Riker, in a half a days, just has to turn it. And that's it. Yep, that's all he had to do is just turn it. Seems like you could just, I don't know, make like a pamphlet, like a 2-page manual on these things, and like, it would be super easy. Hell, you could even explain it to it over. Oh no, you couldn't have done it on comms, but still, it's silly that they couldn't have just beamed it down. They had to risk his life, but whatever. It's dramatic.
Yeah. It would be great if there was like a little card, and he's like, what is it? He just looks at it, and he's like, puts his hands all over because there's no interface, and he picks up the card. He's like, all right. And he just reads the thing. I'm a visual learner. You have a video, and he turns it over and just watches a little video in the back. It's like, welcome to your pattern enhancer. If you have 4 more pattern, I don't have 4 more pattern.
He's like, yeah. Come on, let's get the good
section
thing.
3A. Oh my god. There's just a Cronenberg steaming O'Brien over there, and he's just watching the video, and that's the whole episode.
Yeah, that would be great. I would totally.
I would like. You could almost do like a TNG spoof episode where it's like Worf is like, we can't beam down, and Picard's like, why? Why can't we beam down? Worf's like, I don't know. He pulls out the dice, he rolls, he consults the table. All right, it's electromagnetic interference. All right,
Yeah, I would like it if like we got like whole narratives. Like, so right now this is just like, oh man, we just can't get we found an ingenuitive way to get over that interference, and then we're moving along with our plot. What if the whole plot was just trying to get over that very small hurdle, and just like a comedy of errors, like you just can't get over it. All right, next time we'll totally see if we can do this.
O'Brien runs down to Astrometrics and pulls out an isolinear bay of chips and just blows on them. Try it now. Did that work? And George's like, you gotta use compressed air. And O'Brien's like, it's the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing. Compressed air is colder. Oh man, you're right.
Yeah.
So this is kind of interesting. You know, we got this. We know like something's weird because we're focusing on data that we don't normally use it. And also, he's talking about a polar region that seems kind of weird. And but him doing the whole like, oh, my vocal processor, or however he did it, was kind of an indication that something's going to go down. Yeah.
You see O'Brien there checking on what Data's up to. How's that working?
Yeah.
Working good? Transporter chief, why am I up here? No one asks any questions on this ship.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, you know, what's interesting is that, like, whatever ghost is possessing Data, like, it would just be funny if, like, he's like, okay, let's see what I got here. You know, okay, cool, we got robot arms, it's kind of cool, robot eyes, neat. Holy crap, I have memory banks. Holy crap, I can take over this ship. I can run this whole thing by myself. I don't even need anybody anymore.
We can only assume he doesn't do that exact same thing again because they actually fixed some of those security flaws.
Yeah, allegedly. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the fact that their attempt to take over goes so poorly is either because of... is either because Data's so emotional or because they fixed things since the last time.
Yeah.
Like, there's Worf.
Come on, really?
By O'Brien.
Really? Like, even a sucker punch. I mean, come on. And also, like, what's the default setting on these phasers? Like, are they, I mean, O'Brien could have totally killed both of those people, right? That's good.
He could have, but did not.
Yeah.
Again, sucker punches are OP in this universe.
Yeah. I mean, and that makes a little bit more sense because he's an old. I like this conversation. This is very, like, two terrorists kind of like, come on, man, you could have just waited a little bit longer before you pull the old blah, blah, blah. I like it.
Yeah. I think Data's is it Mr. Blonde here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Michael Madsen character. Yeah.
Yeah, the dude that just kind of loves torture and all. It's definitely him.
Yeah. Worf is pretty lucky that Lost in the Middle of You costs too much to license as a law enforcement officer. You know? So we get some like information kind of warfare going on, right? Because we can control so much of the ship, you know, where, you know, they have to kind of figure out a way to find like their home base. But then they also have this little dude, like, look at that guy. We never see anything like that. He's just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take a stroll, nothing to see. I mean, it's believable that there are other people happening. Other people have lives that intersect with this.
We've never even seen like a civilian just. Well, we have, but I mean, like it's a very rare sight. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like this too. How she's like they're able to kind of do different things. I like how Deanna's in charge. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's good. And it's like Marina Sirtis can do this stuff if they just write things for her.
Yeah.
It's a fun little action sequence. I mean...
Yeah. I don't even need a program. I can just touch my hand to electricity and everything's fine.
Yeah, I do also want to mention that I know Worf was being post-owned at the time, but Ro already shot one of these dudes with a phaser and he shrugged it off.
Yeah.
So we're about to have a scene here where that's kind of important tactical data that no one told Worf.
Yeah, it is interesting. That's got to be just the weirdest thing, right? Where where your husband's like, I'm about to shoot you and our baby. You need to like do what I said.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I think a marriage can probably survive one malevolent alien
Look at that.
possession.
So Data's immune to phaser fire. That's fun. I think we knew that already,
so's,
though, right?
So's O'Brien. Yeah, O'Brien's already taken 2 phaser shots. So
Yeah. Like
this
is
no
just
effect.
made
Seeing he's getting Troy.
goal. Goal.
Yeah, they're definitely doing
up,
like gun reactions.
Yeah, they like lit him up, and then Troy didn't even budge. And I'm like, what? What is this?
Yeah. So like, it's a good checkmate.
Yeah,
It was like, haha, Troy's got the upper hand, and she knows it because she has this communicator. It's great. But
turns out
that, like these people went.
She has ghost powers. Ghost powers allow her to take the phaser hit, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like that's the plot point. Security teams apparently having no defense against phasers. They couldn't even put like an extra shirt on or something.
So now we're in like a hostage
we'll
situation. Like this is like we have a hostage situation on the Enterprise, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, pretty standard plot at this point. I mean, yeah, there's ghosts and stuff, but like it's a pretty standard plot. Like there's a hostage situation. You have hostages. You have to negotiate with them, figure out what they want.
Right.
They're both kind of plotting against each other.
Yeah.
It's not a bad TV show. I mean, there's you could do this in almost any genre, but we're gonna do it with a bunch of extra steps now.
It's fun that Data gets to play like the evil guy. Like he's gonna just become like this sadist later, and it's pretty fun. It's like, oh yeah, he gets to kind of like. Anyway, I'll talk about it when it gets there, but So yeah, this is good. Like they have like operational data, right? Like they know somewhat how Starfleet works, so they're kind of working is how well you can use the knowledge.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that they kind of remember things about the people they're possessing, but not well. And that adds, I think, one of the more compelling elements to the plot here, where they're still quasi these people.
Yeah. And it was kind of clever when they did that here. They kind of reference an old kind of way they dealt with this sort of thing. It's like, can we just like knock them all out? It's like, Data doesn't breathe air, so no. And so he's like, if we don't deal with Data, then we're gonna be right back where we started. And like, it's a good point, because Data is kind of like the blind spot to all of our security measures.
Well, and so is Troi in some ways.
Yeah, in some ways.
You've mentioned that they have no defenses against telepathy, and certainly Troi isn't an aggressively telepathic figure.
Right.
But they're both two characters who were kind of perpendicular to what Starfleet expects. So having them become bad guys poses some challenges.
I like this. Like, Data's like, you want to go? You want to go, Klingon? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, I kid you not. I have an inordinate amount of knowledge about Steven Seagal movies. This is literally a thing that Steven Seagal does, where he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my gun. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Mine's bigger than yours. I'll put it away." It's like, come on, come at me. Except he's being the aggressor here, so it's just kind of fun.
Yeah, it's good. And I mean, to Worf's credit.
Yeah,
despite leading a Casterian offense here.
Yeah. He's like, "Come on, man! I don't fear death. Do it." He doesn't.
He's playing it smart. Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of funny if you had talking about like Deanna's kind of empathy powers. Like if there was something like they were transporting someone from A to B that was also like an empath, and it slowly kind of started devastating people on the crew, like just massive depression, and like Deanna had to do like some sort of like detective bit to figure out how this is happening. That could be fun.
Yeah, it could be fun. But one of the things they do to kind of hobble the bad guys here is because they're not. They seem to be Starfleet officers. Maybe they are. Maybe they've just lost other discipline. They'll get into it. But Data's character is off the rails.
Yeah.
And
so this is kind of interesting. He talks about stabilized situation. Really, it's just like, hey, look, we need to get things kind of moving slower, and we need to get on neutral ground. Right now, they have the leverage. So he's like, all right, yeah, we'll do the thing you want. We're just going to go slow as we can to buy some time. So that's good.
Yeah. And
I like Data just like looks out the window, it's like he's telling the truth. The stars are moving, but like all of his like microprocessor brain couldn't like calculate. Yeah, but we're going really slow.
yeah, that's so that's a good point. That's something that you'd think they could put together, but
yeah. Have we ever talked about anionic energy? Have you ever talked about anionic energy before?
No.
It sounds new.
No. It's an episode by episode energy. It's a script energy. It's just to make
gotcha.
this script go.
I wonder if there's like a library of just all the different energies there are in TNG.
Yeah, it's called Memory Alpha.
Okay, yeah,
it's
true.
a website that it's a wiki for Star Trek and Star Trek fans. So, it's a handy one. So yeah, and Ro is back after like a fairly long absence. I think she was in Conundrum.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's because she's here helping them out.
Yeah.
And they used some of her sneakiness later, which is nice.
Yeah. It's sad we don't see McDuff anymore, but
yeah.
Rip
So rest in weird alien figures.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so we're getting like heavy technobabble right here. And basically it's just like, hey, look, we have a plan. This is going to be our SWAT team sneaking through like the air ducts and doing something to the terrorists.
Yeah.
And Picard has kind of like, he does like his Papa Picard thing. He's like, hey, listen, I really want to help people that are hurt. Is everyone hurt? I like what Worf does here. He's very competent.
Yeah, he's cool. I mean, that he's been captured, yes.
Yeah.
So, but he's still giving out information to the good guys.
Yeah, that would have been great for Worf to have before he run into 10-4. If only somebody knew that.
Yeah, Ro. What the hell, Ro?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's good. It's this little bit where they're negotiating, and it's not a hot war, but it's a little conflict where everyone's trying to edge out each other for the little bits.
Yeah, and Picard does something somewhat not unnerving, but unexpected. In that he offers himself as a hostage, which I mean, sometimes you see, sometimes you don't, as far as like these hostage narratives go. But it's pretty good. Like, hey, listen, I'm a high value asset. Why don't you take me in exchange for all of like the people that are hurt? And Troi buys it. Troy's like, yeah, let's do that. And Picard's like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to give you an opportunity, Riker. Be able to take advantage of it. Be ready for it. And like, that's good. He's putting faith in Riker to solve this problem, right?
I mean,
kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper.
He's putting faith in Riker to know when Picard tells him something. But yes, simply he's doing that.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, again, Data has no understanding of children. But like, Troy's character is in charge of this situation, but both of her assistants are kind of like wobbledy. They're not reliable in different ways. Because
they definitely
is having like a family issue.
Yeah, he definitely seems somewhat erratic. Like somehow, the O'Brien ghost and the O'Brien personality are kind of getting mixed. Maybe this is kind of how O'Brien's like trying to fight his way out of like whatever mental confinement he's been put in.
Maybe.
But this is pretty unnerving. The way O'Brien's like, what is the small thing doing? Why is it making sounds?
Yeah. It's super creepy, and it gives us a little dimension because all three of these characters are doing something a little different. We have to define who their new characters are.
Right.
And we're kind of doing it.
I was just saying it's very subtle because I mean I didn't really kind of get even like preparing to watch it for what we're doing now. I didn't really remember that like, oh wait, these weren't like spoilers. These aren't like Starfleet people. But even though what Troy's saying. And because what we're doing, all those little differences are pretty subtle, and it's kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kick these this characterization into reverse. Like Troi is usually not put in a leadership position.
Yeah.
Usually she's not a strong character, and here's a strong character who's going toe to toe with Picard.
Yeah. That whole shot with like Deanna Troi and Data. like right here, that totally looks like a heavy metal like barbarian, and like the barbarian and like the woman holding on to the barbarian's arm. But in this case, Troy's the barbarian, and Data's like, yeah, you don't mess with us. Like he is just the hype man for Troy's like leader right now. He's mean mugging hard.
Yeah, and like that's the difference between him and Data, where Data is kind of easygoing and good, and this guy's Mr. Blue, and Mr. Blonde,
blonde,
I think he's Mr. Blonde. Anyway, so and then O'Brien is being awful to his family when his characterization is kind of just Family Guy.
Yeah, I mean, and so it's I totally bought this, where she's like, hey, listen, I know all the things about the Essex. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So they are like the ghosts of the old crew. And I didn't realize, like, we get some later characterization that kind of explains how Troi knows this. But I totally didn't put it together till just now.
Yeah.
But we're expecting... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that, she's so far claimed that they're members of the Essex. They're Starfleet officers who crashed, 100 years ago?
200 years.
200 years ago? Yeah. So they're, pre-Kirk era. They're Scott Bakula era Starfleet guys. Okay. See, NCC 173. That's
why is that funny?
It might as well just been NCC 4. I'm like, oh, damn, son. But yeah, no, it's...
Okay.
Even the original Enterprise was 1701, so they're like a tenth of that numbering. Yeah. But so it was a long time ago. Yeah. And she's like, "Look, the deal is we just want to be put to rest because we're ghosts." Yes.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Yeah, and it's like that's the first thing that kind of threw me for a loop here. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you're like Starfleet, a whole bunch of nerds, and all you want to do is a perfectly reasonable thing, then why do you shoot a whole bunch of people? Like, what the hell? And that's where I'm kind of starting to question a little bit of this stuff. I don't try to figure things out generally beforehand, and I just but I am curious. Like, okay, where are you taking me here? Because I feel like I'm getting mixed signals.
Yeah, and it's another mystery in a show that does its best work when it's working on a mystery, when you're intrigued about what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And I think probably survives on the second viewing because you know what the mystery is and you can see how it works. It's like The Sixth Sense. All these episodes are The Sixth Sense. They're all driven by ghosts, Derek.
Yeah, and so this is kind of interesting, a little shot at the Starfleet designers that we're about to get.
Yeah.
You can tell Ro doesn't do engineering work. This is easy access, okay? Like, as far as like a tunnel goes, like you can fit two abreast. Like, come on, that's pretty easy access.
Yeah, I've been in engineering rooms before, and this is so cozy. It's not even funny. It's like, oh wow, you don't have to cut anything out. You don't have to disable any systems to fit this piece of equipment in. You can get two people.
You just rest it. Like, she put her foot in the well here. She's got all kinds of space.
It is just luxurious. I'm sure that none of those computer chips did anything important. It's fine, bro.
I thought that was funny too. Like, I'm just gonna laser this up. Bzz. All right, cool, good deal. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna fit this big machine on top of it. And bam, we're ready to go. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't ask too many questions, but it looks kind of absurd.
I'm sure they rediverted power or something.
Yeah, but, I'm sure nobody. This like some janitor on deck 4 is like, all right, just time to clean out the bathrooms. Oh my god, everything's going in reverse.
Yeah. But it's cool. We have everybody doing something here. Another pretty solid ensemble episode.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have people fighting themselves, it's a lot. It's easy to take up. You divide your whole cast and put them against each other. It's pretty good to be able to give everyone a job.
Yeah, and I would say this is like a bottle episode, but they did have to go to that planet and wreck another shuttle.
Yeah.
So
So I like this too, where you see kind of Picard in his like diplomat powers. Like I know that I can talk to my people. I think this is kind of neat. I like this little Klingon ghost things, and Picard's like, nah, it's not ghost. It's like, thanks for just stepping all over my culture, Picard. Damn.
I do think that Picard's like, so ghost story, huh? Wolf? And Wolf's like, no. Klingons also believe in ghosts. This is totally a space thing. It's like, all right.
Yeah, that would be good. Where he's like, I don't know, Mr. Worf. 200 years ago, he seems to know a lot of... No, it's a space thing. Okay, yeah. You're the security expert. Don't say that in that tone, sir, please. It undermines my authority.
Yeah, Picard's like, we gotta find a science thing for this. It's not just...
Yeah, I would have liked it if there was like a little bit, if they kind of doubled down on the ghost thing a little bit more. But it is really kind of only like we only kind of touch it a little bit, and it's really more of a vehicle to house this. This is like the old crew narrative that's also a fake out.
Yeah. But they're like, oh no, this is totally a science thing. At its core, it's a science thing. It seems like ghosts, but it's actually a science. You guys have seen Thor, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to see Thor one day. It'll be great.
That's such a creepy scene. Ugh.
Oh yeah, but you remember it.
Yeah, no, that's I definitely remember that.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, I'm gonna kiss you later. Like, damn, dude, like just chill out. Ugh.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that. None of this is right. This is all kinds of wrong.
And it's not just like a little wrong. It's a lot wrong.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, we're just kind of... This is kind of where Picard hits on kind of what I was talking about before. He's like, hey, listen, like... You're like, hey, what are all these little holes in this narrative that you're telling me? And eventually I think he's like, hey, listen, you're making a reasonable request. I'll totally make that happen.
Yeah. Also, the thing with O'Brien trying to kiss his wife while possessed by the ghost, I think underlies the human factor of this. Otherwise, there's just Deanna and Troi are evil now.
Yeah.
But, like, they're real people with real history and real connections. And, like, we've grossly violated their personhood. They're not the same people.
Right.
And O'Brien trying to mac with his wife while possessed. While
possessed and the baby... All like the big jarring part is like the baby's crying as well. Like she's holding a crying baby because like that isn't like a crying baby isn't a pleasant sound. Usually you're like, oh, it's annoying or get away from me. And him just ignoring that and trying to kind of like gratify himself is just super gross. And then he's like, all right, cool. That dude, that chick that was gonna kiss, let's kill her. Like. Yeah. What? Dude. Like, damn.
You can tell it's not because he loves her. It's because he knows,
yeah,
like, the part of O'Brien that's still inside him is like, she's super important to me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like messed up and maybe like in the same line of thinking as abusiveness, but it's because he cares about her. Because, like, there's some part of O'Brien that loves Keiko so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's influencing this evil ghost.
This is like frustrating. That's like, okay, pull the trigger. Okay, pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. Can you pull the trigger? Can you pull the trigger now? How about now? Can you pull the trigger now? And it's like, come on. Yeah. They're right. They're just, yeah.
They had to live with the force field.
They could have done that like way before.
That's true. It's true. And if anyone was going to pull the trigger early in that, it would have been Ro.
Yeah. And like, Worf doesn't take his, like... Worf could have totally... Like, he can't... Even if he couldn't beat Data, he could have totally knocked him down right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
they all know where the off switch is at this point. Right? Like, they all know. Worf's like, oh my god, Captain! He puts his hand on the captain like he's so weird, and he just reaches over and just beats
clicks
Data
him off.
His lower back. It's like, tramp stamped you, Data. You're off.
Oh no, it's a little game. We see how many times we can turn you off in a week. Riker's up to 12.
So yeah, it's good. I like the very simple, just have someone underneath Patrick Stewart and lift him up to show that someone's super strong.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if that's literally what they did or if they have like a jack under there or whatever, but
I mean, yeah, it probably had something. But yeah, I mean the way he lets him down is pretty organic. This is weird though. Look what he's doing with his hands. He's doing this like I'm really cold acting, but he doesn't know what to do with his hands. It was kind of a little a rare odd moment for Picard.
I mean, whenever you're getting choked, your natural impulse is to go up there and pull off whatever's choking you. But that's a literal.
But like once the hands off, like
seems
like you would you'd rub your neck, like you'd bend over, you'd breathe heavily, like all those things he does not do.
He was breathing heavily.
Okay, I'm sorry. He kind of did this reaching thing, and then he didn't, and then like he stopped him, and he wasn't touching him. It was just I feel like it's a rare miss for Sir Patrick Stewart, but
fair enough. If it doesn't work on the screen, Derek, it doesn't work. So
I can back up my theory. You want to rewind the tape? We can rewind the tape.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is good. So they have to recoup. They've just kind of like betrayed some trust, right? Because they thought they could like render them all neutralized. But now they have to like figure out how they're going to move forward after having done that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
they're trying to do the next phase of their plan, but they'll have to use transporters for it. So
yeah, and so
now they're going to negotiate,
right?
Next
and
step.
Picard is like saying, "Hey, look, man, I can totally help you out." And I love how Data's the paranoid one. You know what I mean? Like Data is always kind of the one that's like kind of in the know because he has all this knowledge in his head, and so him to be kind of paranoid and unsure of just anything going on. Is such a different personality to see Data have. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. So, and everyone, it's a lot of talking. I think we've had enough action here.
Yeah,
we've had 2 fight scenes and then a choking.
Yeah.
Plus a really rough almost kiss. I think we've got our action quotient down.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too because it's like they're talking to like he has knowledge about the transporter, right? And he's essentially like saying, "Hey, listen, I need you to update my bash profile and give me root access." It's like, "Oh yeah, we can't give root access to that terminal." That's not true. Riker, give him root access.
Yeah. And he does the whole thing where he's like, "Look, we're going to have an opportunity here to do a thing." And I think he puts the right amount of emphasis on it.
Yeah, well, and he's not only like, so sometimes their synergy, like Riker and Picard's synergy, it feels almost magical, like it just comes out of nowhere. But he does a good job with that line to really sell to both the audience and to Riker, like, we're going to have an opportunity here. Picard tells me he wants you to let you know that he's winking right now. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. And I think it's subtle enough we don't automatically expect our hostage takers or terrorists here to catch on to it.
Yeah. So this is like Riker.
Like that we have a fake out.
Yeah. This is just
we have a fake out
here
in terms of our plan is Ro is going to hold back the shuttlecraft transporters.
Yeah.
And that fails. So we kind of think on one level that Riker's gambit has failed already. Right. But it hasn't yet.
An odd moment of compassion. So I mean that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
This is kind of, I like his little like weird finger buttons that just kind of sell him doing one command. But here's the walk. This is the walk that we get in the car, and I totally did not see what this I did not see this at all. Basically,
how could you?
Yeah.
Like, this is such a scenario that we have to build up so much for.
Right. And, like, when you're walking down, like, the aisle, it's kind of also an odd configuration and assortment of people in the hall walking. You know what I mean? Like, why is Keiko there? Like, Keiko's never doing anything central to the plot. She's always tied to O'Brien, right?
Yeah. In a lot of ways. I think she was in the Violations. She was here without O'Brien.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's the only time.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we resolve all of this? Like, what is our resolution at this point?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so this is kind of the Picard still trying to figure out the mystery, right? And so he's like, "Yeah, so ghost, tell me how this ghost stuff works." And this is
Look, when you're a ghost, you just know things, Jean-Luc.
Yeah, quit asking questions, you meatbag.
Beetlejuice was just a movie, Jean-Luc. Okay, like ghosts know how to be ghosts.
Yeah,
don't question it.
Does anyone tell you how to be human? No. So there.
Mr. Wolf, did you just say Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice? It was worth a shot, sir.
I've been watching a lot of cinema. I felt like it might have been something. My next, we could try Bloody Mary. Do you have a mirror?
Is Russian classic, sir. I've been told to say that.
It is Russian classic. That's good.
So yeah. But it's good. Like, we're using the cargo transporters. I think we're using like every set in this episode.
Yeah, we've been through a lot. There's been a lot of traveling in this episode.
Yeah.
Ha!
And again,
we got you. We're so close, so let me exposit and tell you the real story.
Ooksmall. It's just a stupid name. Like, this is a pretty solid episode, but she's like, Ooksmall. You're like, what?
Ooksmall sounds
awful name.
Ooksmall does sound like something you would do in the cargo bay. Like, you put something on a forklift and you're like trying to balance everything and it falls over. Like, oh, Ooksmall. Oh.
It sounds like a Ferengi sex thing. Oh, he loves getting Ooksmall.
Yeah,
it's just the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, I know. What are you doing? Getting Ooksmall in the closet? Get over here.
Oh god, it was a prison the whole time. There were ghosts in the gas tank. Oh yeah.
I would like it too. Like, this kind of stuff, like, that's weird. It's like, we're not ghosts, we're prisoners. And then, like, there are actual ghosts on the Enterprise that protect the crew from, like, the prisoner ghosts. Like, just like something just out of nowhere. You're like, wait a minute. We had this whole scientific explanation for ghosts, and then real ghosts helped us?
Like, yeah, we have a lot of ghosts in here. And we thought we'd resolve that, but I guess not. So, and I love this conclusion, because I love it when people are willing to sacrifice their life for things, because they have values.
Yeah.
And it's like, Keiko's like, hey, look, I'm just some civilian numpty.
Yeah.
I'm ready to die for this. Like, I'm part of the community, bitches.
That's pretty like, metal,
go Keiko.
Yeah. I mean, Keiko saying that, like, is pretty rad. Worf is like, oh man, I dream every day of dying for this ship. I'm glad this day's finally here. Like, easy, man. Like, damn.
Everyone else together, Ghosts and Keiko are like, we know Worf, like, simultaneously. Yeah. No one asked Worf, because we all kind of knew anyway.
Yeah, we get it. Klingon isn't a very varied culture, and it's a very one-dimensional machismo. We got it.
Picard gives the second worst Picard speech ever, and we learn that the solution to taking hostages is taking more hostages. No, sir, we didn't learn that. That's not the lesson.
Yeah.
He's like, it seems like that's the lesson. It's like, no, it's not somehow.
Yeah. All right. Well, regardless of what the lesson was, let's put a big don't beam down to the surface here sign so no one gets into this problem again. Like, seriously, if this is a penal colony, if this is a penal colony, how in the hell is there not like a sign? Like, even now, today, if I drive across like a prison, it's like, hey, don't pick up hitchhikers. There might be a prisoner. Like, oh, hey, that's good to know. Like, seems like there would be like a probe that's like constantly saying, do not go down to the surface. These are prisoners. Do not go down to the surface. These are prisoners.
I mean, admittedly, Jim Kirk didn't do that.
I mean, maybe it's like
yeah.
It could be like a Guantanamo Bay situation where it's like a secret prison they don't want you to know about.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's like you should have a prison on land that you control.
Yeah.
Like,
you should have a presence.
You know that, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, I really expected Keiko to like be uncomfortable here. Like, I mean, can you like can just me and the kid go stay at my mom's house for a little bit? It's just a little weird. Like, we're cool. I just need a little bit, not the same day cool. We're cool. Just give me a night. Cause that's really, It would just be uncomfortable,
But
I feel like, but whatever.
He said he would have done awful violence against the things inside of him.
Yeah, so that means he's a real man.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. Showcasing his real manness means that everything's okay. Violence
if I could have fucked that ghost to death, Keiko, I would have fucked that ghost to death. Final thoughts, power play.
It's an interesting episode. I liked how we got to see kind of like Troi and Data kind of do some things that they don't really get to do. There's a little kind of nitpicky stuff, but I feel like that's often the case. I enjoyed this episode. I think that I would have liked a little more like ghost things, because I feel like that's... But I guess it wasn't ghost things. I mean, there are a few plot holes here, but it's just... This is a good kind of hostage like taking episode, and everyone kind of like finds a way to move forward. And I like seeing Troi be a badass. That was fun. So I enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a personal favorite for me. I think it's right at the scraping the upper stratosphere of how actiony Star Trek should be.
I would agree with that.
Maybe pushing the line for it, but just generally solid, fun episode where a lot of things happen.
Yeah,
it's just entertaining to watch.
Yep.
So next week we are going to watch Ethics.
Right. So the card that we get from Netflix looks like Riker in a hospital about to kill a dude. He's got a knife, and he looks like reading. He's got a knife, and he looks like he's like, I gotta do it, I guess. Look on his face, and this is the summary we get from Netflix. After an incident that leaves him no longer able to walk, Worf asks, oh damn, okay. Well, Worf asks Riker to help him commit suicide.
Maybe you should ask your Chadich, Worf. Maybe you should ask your fucking Chadich.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like,
what a fucking time to make Riker your right-hand man. God damn it.
After all the important plot points are past him, he's like, yeah, okay, you can do it. I wouldn't want my Chadich to see me this way. I wouldn't want my real Chadich. You're only my suicide Chadich. Oh man. So yeah,
well, that's it. We don't even have to watch the episode now.
That's pretty much it. I'd be interested to know when this episode aired and if it had any sort of tie in to like Dr. Kevorkian, because I know it was kind of roughly around the same timeline in the 90s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I guess we're gonna have to watch it then, because I'll have to research that so we can talk about it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we'll find out next week.
Yep.
And until then, don't Google anything about Dr. Kevorkian.
Yeah.
That's my job, and remember Rand. I'll make this short because no one likes credits. Star Trek is property of CBS Television Studios and Paramount Pictures. We are watching Star Trek on Netflix. We are talking over Discord, and we are recording and editing on Audacity. The Beige and The Bold is hosted on Anchor and can be found on most podcasting platforms. I would also like to thank our senior officer Patreons for supporting The Beige and The Bold. They also make video editions of this podcast and remasters of old episodes possible. So thank you to Tracker by Moonlight and Miss Jess. If you have any questions or concerns about the show, please contact me at vanvelding@gmail.com or on Twitter @vanvelding. Thank you, and remember Rand.